Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pamela and today we are going to be talking all about the 6 traits that are helping me become a future millionaire. We're going to have a little chat real quick before I start this video because I want to let you guys know I do not come from generational wealth. I do not have a trust fund. I am someone that still believes this success is going to happen to me. I am just a 22-year-old girl from New Jersey that is building my dream life, building my dream business, and wants my dream 7-figure bank account. Like, who else does not want that? And something that I've realized over the years is that there is no shortcut to success. There is no big secret. You can truly accomplish and do whatever it is that you want to do. And if you guys are new to my channel, I just started a series called The Millionaire Journey in my 20 series, which is all about me not being shy about what I want and actually putting it out there in the world. Because the truth is, when you put what you want out there in the world, you are going to notice the more you act upon it, the more you actually work on this thing, things around you are going to change. Things around you are going to blossom. And before you know it, things are going to start happening right before your eyes. But it's literally because you are locking in, you are putting in the work, you are staying true to yourself, and you're working on your passions and your dreams. So why would these things not come true? I have no idea how I'm going to create this 7-figure bank account. I have no idea how I'm going to make even more success for myself. I just know it's going to happen. And I just have that belief and that confidence because every day I am consuming content that is for the betterment of me. I am creating content that is for the betterment of you guys, so you guys can also stay motivated and stay on top of whatever it is that you want to do. I used to get scared of putting my big goals and my dreams out there because I didn't want people I knew to make fun of me and say, who does she think she is? But you're already one step ahead of those people. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my real mindset shifting habits that are going to get me to this successful place it is that I want. And who knows, maybe in a year or two, these things might change, but this is what I'm quite literally doing right now as a 22-year-old to get me to where it is that I want to be. And at the end of each tip, I'm going to give you guys a little task that you can do to help you take that immediate action. Tip number 1, and the first trait that is helping me become a future millionaire, is having relentless self-belief and being delusional. Successful people, billionaires, millionaires, like anyone in between, they always believe in their vision before it makes sense to others, even when there is literally no evidence that it is going to work. And the reason why, this is something we all have to deal with, but not everyone is going to believe in your vision, or not everyone is going to see what it is that you see. And when you start working towards building your dreams and your goals, and people see that, especially people that you know, there are going to be some unwanted opinions that are going to come with this. I heard this quote before from a YouTube video, which said, "There's a delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe something different can happen." And I completely agree with this because it's one of the hardest parts of the journey, but it's something that I've adopted for many years now because I literally realized it on my own, that when I was starting my content creation journey and when I launched my agency my freshman year of college, I had no one in my life to go to help me or give me advice and even motivation. I had to literally create this on my own, and it was so hard, but I always kept this vision in my head, and I've always been such a big dreamer that I just always knew, like, anything I set my mind to, I can 100% do it. I've just always had that belief in myself. And when I set my mind on content creation and starting a business, of course, people said stuff. People I knew were saying things behind my back, but now those are the people, they're the same ones that are literally texting me, asking me like, how did you do it? I need advice on this. They are literally coming back because now they're like, I don't want to be a hater because it's working for her. All of this to say, you have to believe in your own dreams first because no one else is going to be as supportive as yourself. You have to be your own #1 fan. You have to pick yourself up on the low days. You have to pick yourself up even on the days when you don't feel like it. We see these people every day, like on social media and on TV, that are achieving their own kinds of success, such as winning awards on TV shows for different kinds of movies and stuff, and people getting their businesses acquired for millions of dollars. Like, I guarantee you that each of those people have their own story of some sort of roadblock or problem they had to overcome and how they had to adopt some sort of mindset that now got them to where they are today. And I mentioned this in another one of my videos, but it's a really great example from the Viola Davis memoir, which I actually read last month. Viola Davis's sister has a conversation with her, which basically says, Viola, you don't want to live like this when you get older, do you? You need to have a really clear idea of how you're going to make it out if you don't want to be poor for the rest of your life. You have to decide what you want to be, then you have to work really hard. And she says this to Viola because they grew up dirt poor. They grew up in poverty. Their parents had their own problems. They were literally against all odds of making it out there in the world. But her sister literally says to her, decide what it is that you want to be and work really hard, because it's not just about wishing upon a star. And by being delusional, you are building this bold, unshakable belief within yourself that you are going to make anything you want happen, because it is true that what you think can actually happen. But again, there has to be the work and the action that follows that, because if everybody knew the secret to success, then everybody would be at the top. But a lot of people give up and they stop halfway, or they even stop when they don't see the results it is that they want to see. And everybody knows that quote, which is, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And this applies exactly to that. If you don't take a shot at what you want out of this world, how are you going to know if it's ever going to work? You literally have to show up even when it feels like nothing is happening, because you never know what rooms your name is being talked about in. And by having this kind of belief, that is what is going to build resilience. That's what's going to build confidence and energy. And that is what most people cannot tap into. And if you feel like maybe you're one of those people where you want to tap into this energy, but you don't know where to start, maybe you're having a little bit of trouble, I'm going to give you guys your first task of this video, which is write a journal entry from the perspective of your future millionaire or future successful self. Do this in present tense and say, I'm living in my dream penthouse that is waterfront in New York City. I'm driving my black matte G-Wagon around town with red leather interior. Like, whatever it is that your dreams are, write these down, make a dream day in the life, and do this for your future self, but in the present tense. And read this every morning and every night to keep up that momentum and to remind yourself what it is that you are working towards. Tip number 2 is take initiative without permission and have ruthless focus. So I've mentioned this before in some of my other videos, which is to stop waiting for the permission from others to go after what it is that you truly want, and stop looking for validation from others. When I was younger, I used to be obsessed with wanting validation and literally needing it from others for specific things, like buying trends just because other people were using it or wearing it, and only doing certain things so that people thought that I was cool. And when I got older, I started to realize that there is so much luxury and beauty in not waiting for someone else to hand you an opportunity, but to literally create your own. And this is another mindset that I've adopted over the years, and it has not been an easy one, but it is something that I've noticed from so many successful people. When I listen to interviews about them, when I read articles on them and read books about them, I literally see them say that they had this roadblock, they had this problem, and they were like, I'm not going to keep living like this. I want to change my life. And they get up and they do that, and they create their own opportunity. So when I graduated high school and I was about to enter college, I was thinking these two things, like right before college. I needed to have some sort of experience under my belt because I wanted to land internships and I wanted to land a potential permanent job after college, something full-time. The second thing, I want to make the most out of these next 4 years, and I want to take some risks that I'm not going to be able to do once I graduate. And this included making my own opportunities. And that was how I decided, let me start some sort of side hustle. Let me really start my passion projects right now and see how far it can get me in these 4 years. And since then, all of the things that I've been doing have grown exponentially and truly given me once in a lifetime opportunities. But it's because I got up and I created these opportunities. I didn't wait for someone to hand these things to me. I did not wait for an acceptance letter from a company or for a connection from somebody at this big brand. I literally sat down, I did the research, I made a plan, I did the work, I learned whatever skills it is that I had to do, and I locked in. And this applies to the whole point of this video, because successful people move fast. They don't overthink, they literally decide, they act, and then they refine later, and they stay locked in. And that is why I told you guys too that most people, they give up halfway, or they even give up before they start, because they don't have that ruthless focus. They're probably still looking for ways to get that success shortcut, or maybe they want it overnight, and that is not how things work. You have to make sure that mindless distractions are gone, like scrolling on social media for hours and anything else that can be a potential roadblock that is stopping you from hitting your true potential. And I personally noticed the most growth when I put aside all the things it is that didn't benefit me, such as childish, immature people, or situations that simply were just not good for me, maybe not looking at content that was not making me feel good. And once I started implementing these small changes, it started to make even bigger changes and even bigger ripple effects for me, because one thing was affecting the other. And people think that you have to make these really big, crazy life changes in order to see these really big results, but you actually can see more changes and feel a bigger difference when you just take baby steps, because those small steps are the things that are going to lead to the bigger results, and it is just going to take time and focus. So my task for you with this tip is pick one idea that you've been sitting on for a while, whether it's starting a business, posting content, sending a pitch, and just take the first messy step today. It does not have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be organized or neat. It does not matter what it is. Just start one step for whatever it is that you want. Then write out one distraction that can be removed this week to help get this idea started and take action. Tip number 3 is focus on energy givers, not energy drainers. And this is definitely one of my favorite tips in this video, because I think this is what has helped me the most when it comes to achieving success at this age. And I'm still not done. I'm still on the road to being bigger and better. Something that I've realized as I've gotten older that is a really, really huge luxury is that your energy is your most valuable currency. So you have to protect it like your future depends on it, because it quite literally does. And this is something that I've noticed after reading and hearing a lot from successful people, or those that I look up to, is that these successful people, they often audit their lives when it comes to the people they're around, the people they hang out with, their habits, their environments, the content they consume. And if it drains them more than they fuels them, they let it go. And I listened to this specifically in an interview that I was listening to when I was going on a walk a few weeks back. And it was this guy that interviewed the founder of Poppy. Her name is Allison Ellsworth. He asked her something about if the people around her believed in this idea when she wanted to create a healthy soda idea. And this was still when Poppy was in the beginning stages. And she said she has no trouble cutting people off, and she does not like to be surrounded by negative energy. And now look, Poppy was acquired for almost $2 billion by Pepsi. But I'm not saying that you got to start cutting people off to become a billionaire, but I'm showing you that it is true. When you are around people that have good energy, that ends up having a big effect on you. And she literally said when she was around the naysayers and the negative people, she realized this person cannot be in my life anymore. When you are surrounded by energy givers, I feel like it really starts to show up more in your own life, such as you start to have healthier routines, you start to build more really aligned friendships, you notice a boost in creativity, you start making purpose-driven work. And this is something I especially noticed when I cut people off from high school or middle school that just weren't aligned in my life anymore with what it is that I was doing and what it is that they were doing. It's not because you're better than these people or because you're putting yourself on this pedestal all of a sudden. Just because people have been in our lives for our entire life does not mean that they have to stay in it our entire life. When you notice that you're growing apart from people and you guys are on different wavelengths, it doesn't mean that there has to be beef. It doesn't mean there has to be this dramatic breakup. People grow up and people grow apart. And that is just life. It's a normal part of growing up. And when I really started to pour time into relationships and friendships that fueled me and made me feel good, it really poured into other areas of my life. And I know you guys are sick of me of mentioning my sister, because I literally mention her in every single video, but she's truly my best friend. And we go on walks all the time at the park, and we always talk about our dreams, our goals, what we wonder our life is going to look like in a few years, what we aspire to do in life, and we always pick each other up. And when I'm down, she picks me up, vice versa. But it is more than sisterhood. Like, to me, it's really just a bond and a friendship that I'm so grateful for, because like I said, that positivity, those uplifting conversations, those moments are what I always am going to remember for the rest of my life, and that's literally what keeps me going. So when you find those people in your life, it is so rare to find them, but hold on to them, keep them close, because we truly need that love in our life. So my task for you with this tip is make a list of 2 different columns. One side, write down your energy givers. On the other side, write down your energy drainers, and highlight one thing this week that you just do not want anymore in your life. And then also, what is one giver that you can intentionally start leaning into? And don't just write things down for the sake of it. Make action on it this week. Tip number 4 is obsess over learning and create before consuming. So successful people are always learning, they're constantly reading, they are watching, they're listening, and they're asking questions. And you truly have to be a student of life. And I don't mean this by just reading some articles randomly when you remember and then calling it a day, or watching some inspiring YouTube video yet again. You have to learn new skills. You need to read about new things that you did not know before. And then you have to see how can you apply these things into your own life. For me, I personally love reading CNBC Make It. They do articles every single day, and they also have a YouTube channel where they interview entrepreneurs and business owners and people that you probably haven't even heard of that are out here making a change and have changed their own life. I also really like reading Fortune, Forbes, Entrepreneur Magazine, all these kinds of things. And I like finding new business owners that I didn't know about before and reading about their story, hearing some sort of valuable piece of information that is in there, and then I keep that close with me throughout my journey. I'm also a really big fan of fiction and nonfiction because I personally love escapism. I love reading fantasy and romance novels, but I also love to learn, and I'm actually currently reading Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and just books like that where I'm learning and I'm constantly just trying something new. That is something that I really, really love. So when you're constantly learning and reading or watching what your role models are doing, and especially those that you look up to, you are already going to be one step ahead of those people that are around you. And I've said this before in another one of my videos, which is that just because you're done with school does not mean that you should ever stop learning. And I actually got even more excited after I graduated college because I realized, look at all this extra time I have now on my calendar. Look at all this extra time that I can use to read about things it is that I actually want to read about. Look at all this time I have to put into my passion projects and begin growing my brand, because the truth is that when you put time into learning and knowledge and you actually learn about new things, you can use that new growth to expand your personal brand or your brand in general and whatever it is that you are building or working on. And another one of these traits from successful people is that they do not waste their energy and their most precious time scrolling or being a part of distractions, and they are creating before they are consuming. And this is one of the hardest things that I had to come to terms with when I wanted to be a content creator, is that I love scrolling. I love wasting time and looking at what other people are doing for hours, but I realized, how am I ever going to get far? How am I ever going to get in their position if I'm just scrolling all day? Because the harsh truth is that you do not need to see yet another video that is going to help you keep going. You do not need to finally read yet another book to inspire you to not give up. Like, you don't need to keep needing more things to be that sign that I should finally take a leap of faith. I should finally start working on my dreams. I should finally start the business. Like, that is why I said in tip number 1, you got to have that relentless self-belief and that delusion. You got to have that faith in yourself and your abilities that you can make your dreams come true. But you have to stop waiting for signs. You have to stop waiting for more reminders from the universe to be that weekly motivation. Like, you just have to have that within yourself and keep going. Watch the content and read the books for educational purposes, and stop looking for those weekly signs. Have that motivation within yourself and that self-discipline to get up and do the work regardless of if you see things happening around you or not. Because just because you planted that seed today does not mean the flowers are going to literally grow overnight. My task for you, set a create before you scroll rule and do this every single morning for the next week or so just to see how it goes, and pick some sort of book or a podcast or a YouTube video and learn from this daily, and maybe write down some things it is that you learned from that. And in my millionaire journey in my 20s series, I've been doing this in some of my videos where I read an article and I have a notebook specifically for writing down things that I learned from these articles. I write down things from these entrepreneurs it is that I didn't know about before. So for example, if you want to be a content creator, try to challenge yourself to just film every single day for an hour in the morning. If you want to start a blog, try to watch a YouTube video on how to learn about SEO. Like, literally put that time into educating yourself into what it is that you want to build or do. Tip number 5, this is very, very important, which is think long-term, not just quick wins. So successful people play the long game because they are okay with being broke or being low today if that means that there is going to be wealth and success later down the road. Because the problem with a lot of people nowadays, especially younger people, and because of social media, is that people want the success, the fame, the money. They want all of this fun immediately after they only put a portion in of the work or even a quarter of the work. But the true success and the true ones that really rise up, or the ones that really make a change in their lives, are the ones that focus on the long-term success, because that to me is where the real luxury is. When you finally come to terms with the fact that everyone's journey, including yours, is on its own timeline, you are truly going to find so much more peace in your day-to-day life, and you're not going to be trying to rush to get to the end, because that is not how life works either. And this is something that has specifically brought me a lot of peace, because I realized, like, why am I rushing to get things done? Why am I doing all this busy work to feel productive when none of this work even really matters? What I have to be doing is work that actually does matter, and that is bringing me closer to my dreams and my goals, and not looking at the timeline. There's a quote that I really love from Steve Jobs' commencement speech to Stanford, which I listen to all the time, and he basically says, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever, because believing the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make the difference. And this applies so much to this tip that I'm telling you guys, because when we look backwards, we see how everything is coming to be. We see how everything lines up, but when we look forward, it's really hard to tell, like, what is going to be that thing that is going to propel us? What is going to be the thing that is going to make this dream work? But that's why you have to just trust in something. You have to just believe and keep following your heart, because no one knows the secret to success, and everybody's story is going to be different. So don't try to make your story like somebody else's, and remind yourself that delayed gratification is the ultimate power move. That is true luxury, because these short-term sacrifices that you make today, it's not going to be fun, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that is what is going to create that long-term freedom for you and your life and even those around you. I cannot tell you guys the amount of times that I sit at this desk with my head in my hands, just stressed and worried and overwhelmed and crying, and I just feel like the world is caving in on me, and I just don't know what to do. But then I pray and I pray and I pray that what I'm doing is one day going to pay off, and then I take that stress off of me. I take that stress off my shoulder, I put it away, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm just going to have confidence even on these low days, because I know these low days are teaching me something. I know these days where I don't feel my best is giving me some sort of lesson that is going to help me later down the road, and I just have to trust. So my task for you with this tip is to write down some goals that you want to accomplish in the next year, 3 years, and 5 years, and keep this little note or this post-it on your desk. Look at it throughout the day as you work, bring it with you everywhere, and just have it be that reminder that your work is working, even if you don't see it happening in real time, and it is going to pay off one day when you can check everything off that list. The last and final tip for today's video is focus on who you're becoming, not what you will receive. So this is something else that a lot of successful people have said, and it is something that I've noticed when I am listening to interviews or reading articles and books, and the greatest value in life is not what you get, but it is who you become. And when you look back at your journey and you see all the things it is that you've accomplished, you are literally going to think back to all of those days when you were grinding, when you were hustling, the late nights, the early mornings, the days when you didn't feel like it, the days when you still showed up, and you're going to see that it was not about the materialistic stuff. You're going to notice that you've grown, that you've changed, that you've blossomed, and that you've become this person where, wow, I'm actually reaping the rewards of what it is that I've been working on this whole time. And this millionaire energy, this energy that so many people see on social media and that they think success is, literally has nothing to do with chasing materialistic things. It is honestly and truly about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts it. And the thing that you focus on the most is what you are going to attract. So focus on that process, focus on the routine and the habits and the little things, and watch how everything around you is literally going to begin to unfold. Because when you focus your time and your routine on being disciplined and consistent and resilient and wise, all of these things it is that you want are going to slowly come to you, such as the money and the lifestyle, the opportunities. Like, it's going to come when you're not thinking about it, when you're not so hyper focused on it. And here's the other harsh truth, is that it is not going to happen all at once. And this is something else that I really had to come to terms with. And all the things it is that you want, it's not going to happen one by one. It is going to happen probably years apart or in different timelines and in different eras of your life. I am so grateful that things that I prayed about achieving when I was younger did not happen at those eras or at those ages and at those points in my life because I was not ready. I was at these different ages wishing these things happened to me, and I was not ready. I hadn't learned the specific lessons it is that I needed before those things happened to me. And now I'm so grateful that I have. I'm very grateful that I've accomplished certain things because now I feel like I'm more than ready. I'm really prepared, and I really feel like I'm ready to receive certain things. But it's because I had the low moments, but I also had the high moments. It was a mix of both of those things that made me who I am today, and that is going to continue to make me who it is that I want to become, and eventually will become the outcomes that we want, the dreams, all these things it is that we want. Like, these are literally all just byproducts of identity and who it is that we become. So instead of asking yourself, when will I get this specific thing, or when will this thing come into my life? Ask yourself, how can I grow into somebody that earns it? We see all these things on social media that we want, and then when we finally get that specific thing, it's not what we thought it was going to be, and we're like, wait, like, this is not how I thought. So instead, search for how you can be prepared to receive the thing it is that you want. What can you learn in the meantime? What can you adopt? What traits or habits can you practice and add into your life to become the person that can earn the thing it is that you want? Because again, it's about who you become, not what you get. All of those results, all of those end rewards, it's just a product of who you end up becoming. So my task for you with this tip is to write down 3 to 5 traits or qualities of your future successful millionaire self, and what does this person embody? And then next to each one of those traits, write down one action item that you can take this week to try to embody that version of yourself right now. The trait of my future self is that she is healthy and she gets movement. So one thing I can do this week is make a routine for my workout. Maybe one day I'll do my 10K steps, the next day I'll do cycle bar, the next day a rest day, and then back again. And another trait for my future self is I want to be somebody that networks and has a large network. So one thing I can literally do this week is reach out to some people in my industry, such as on LinkedIn, and ask them if they want to do maybe a 5 to 10 minute coffee chat. And I can ask them any questions that I have, any questions that I'm curious about that I want to learn. But the point is that these are small action steps, but I can take action today. I don't have to wait or keep thinking that this future version of me is so far. That is all for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's see who we end up becoming. Let's see where this journey, where life takes us, and I really hope that you guys achieve everything it is that you want, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!